Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to my speech. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, and this is Vivian S.D. Guzman, and welcome back to our new episode in My Spiritual GPS. So, My Spiritual GPS is a TV show designed for your own spiritual journey. You know how us entrepreneurs sometimes we get into the messy situations in life, and then eventually we get to the point wherein we've figured it out, and some of us are still figuring it out. And during the process, we learn so much lessons in life, right? And through the lessons that we learned, we're here to share what else can we do to actually make people's lives better. So therefore, this show was created just for you, those who may be in some form of a spiritual journey, and those of you who are entrepreneurs and perhaps you want to really integrate the spirituality, your relationship with yourself, with other people, with God or divine source, with your business, so that it's an integrated whole. So today we have beautiful Asian women who are coming in on the show to actually show you how they led their lives, how they became successful, and how they literally bossed up. So I would like to welcome, first of all, I'm going to be welcoming Miss Amy Lynn. Hi, Amy. Amy Lynn is the founder and CEO of the Opulent Academy. So she's going to tell us a little bit of what that's all about, right? And Cathy Trin. Cathy, she's an author, speaker, and abundant coach. So Amy, tell us a little bit about yourself and what this Opulent Academy, what is that about? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, absolutely. Hi, Vivian. Thanks for having me. So
Yes.
the Opulent Academy, I'd like to define the word opulence for your audience first. So the word opulence means having an abundance of wealth full of richness. And I love what you mentioned, Vivian, that when I talk about wealth, it's not just about money, as money is only one form of wealth, right? It's to really live your life as a whole. So spirituality is definitely a big part. Intellectually, your thinking, your thoughts, your mindsets, and then lastly, material things like money. So it's really the ability to live and having an abundant life full of richness in all three areas.
I love that. Thank you for being here with us. It's such an honor and pleasure to be with you today. And Cathy, how about you? Tell us a little bit about this author of, is there a specific book that you wrote? And you're a speaker and an abundant coach.
Yes, Vivian, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I'm just, my heart is just so wide open right now, and I cannot wait to talk to you about spirituality and growth. But yes, my name is Cathy Trin. I'm out here in sunny Southern California, and I am an author. I wrote my inaugural book during COVID, and we published it. It's called The Journey, Mastering the Art of Slowing Down into a Beautiful Existence, and a beautiful existence of in all areas, in spirituality, physical, emotional growth. And in order to I guess achieve more, we just slow down into the presence of now. So that's the theme of my book. But I'm also a speaker, and I love to talk about abundance as well. So I'm just so excited to be here.
Yay! And as you know, ladies, there's many of us Asian women who have gone through some form of a mess, right? And then all the way to be able to bring about this message into the world. Like in the beginning, I was a human MRI, so I was a physical therapist, right? And then I go, well, what is a holistic physical therapist? And then moved into money magnet activator. So that's been my journey as well, from the medical side and the business side. And I go, well, how can women that are showing up in their lives and touching other people's lives, how come we get sick sometimes, right? And is that a sign? Is that a sign for us to change our ways? And then how do we activate money and not be sick at the same time, right? Because some people, they rise to the top, but then they get sick with some form of a cancer or something, or their relationships suffer. And then I'm like, there must be an integrated way to make this work, like put it together so everybody's happy in their journey instead of going through all these stumbling blocks. So I appreciate you ladies. And we know that all of us here are part of the book, Asian Women Who Boss Up, right? So I was doing my meditation this morning. I always do my nature walks and, doing the abundance. I call it abundance walk because I look at the trees and the leaves and I just appreciate how abundant nature is. And then I go, why are people suffering from the lack of abundance? So I wanted to direct that question to both of you because, well, we're all Asians, and some of us, maybe we grew up in a family that is already abundant, but some of us, I did not grow up in an abundant family. I can just tell you that. A lot of difficulties and struggle with money. And then I'm like, why are they worried about that? I don't get it, right? Because of the journey that we learned along the way. So can you guys share with the audience, what was your life like growing up? Was it abundant immediately, or was there any struggle or mess that you had to go through?
Sure, I'll go ahead and share.
Go ahead, Amy.
So I grew up, I was born in Taiwan, and I grew up in a very traditional Chinese family where, parents tell you to go to school, get a job, right? Get a traditional 9-to-5 job. So I wanted to be a good daughter. So I listened to my mom and I went to school and then I came out and then get a job. So, but I was miserable in that job. It was a banking job, and I stayed in that banking job for 8 years. And I remember I actually shared this with my mom, and I said, I don't really love my job. And my mom said, well, no one likes their job, so just suck it up.
Ooh, oh my. Suck it up. Oh my gosh.
And I wanted to be a good daughter, right? And I did. So I stayed there for 8 years. I was really dying inside. And I realized that this is not what I wanted to do. And I started listening to my intuition, listening to my soul, what it was telling me. So I finally was able to just quit the job and then start doing what I love to do.
Oh, beautiful. Awesome. Cathy, how about you? Tell us your beginnings.
Yeah, my early beginnings. Wow. I'm so excited to be here. I just love spiritual growth and anything spiritual, because I feel like throughout my life, I have had several spiritual awakenings. I guess just to take it all the way back, I was born in Vietnam and came here as a refugee. So my teenage parents and I, we escaped the Vietnam War. And we got onto a little boat. And we got lost at sea for 7 days. So, and so I, as I always reflect back in my life, I'm extremely grateful on how God, higher power, source brought us even together right now. This is
Yeah.
how life was meant to be, you know, evolved, and now February 2nd, 2021, we are here, right here. But obviously there's a whole lifetime of experiences. So I I'm a former drug and alcohol addict, and I'm in recovery. I've had several emotional rock bottoms in my life. I would say that my journey has not been the very traditional Asian. I grew up in, we grew up in Orange County, California, about 5 minutes from beautiful, magical Disneyland. And I've always known this environment. I lived in the U.S. for now 40 years. But I did hit my bottom when I was 22 years old, got into different influences, went to a lot of clubs, did drugs, and I ultimately hit my bottom when I was 22, and I got into recovery since then. So I've been in the walk of recovery now for over 18 years. And, a lot of the past habits were really accepted by my family, the tattoos, the piercings. The only reason why was my mother had worked for a skateboard company, and everybody that worked at that skateboard company did things that was, she was already exposed to the American culture. So a little bit non-traditional Asian, but I'm just so grateful to be here today, and discernment has been one of the biggest distinctions in my life. I know today what to do in order to help take my corporation and move the enterprise forward, based on the experiences that the foundation has laid out for myself in my life.
Very good. Oh, that's such an inspiring story. So I want to ask both of you, right? So we know that last year was like COVID related. It seems like there's so many things that happened. And even prior to that, because I look back, I think of healing as associated with the number 3. It's very, very magical. It always comes in 3 for some reason. So is there like a theme that you guys were thinking about, like per year, in your business, or even in the evolution of your growth, right? Because your life has changed from where you were before, it was a mess, to now you have a message for other women out there, not just Asians, but maybe those who wanted to be an entrepreneur. So can you give us, like, for example, I'll give myself, like last year was up level, because I really wanted to up level my life. And this year for me, my theme is adaptive, right? And in 2019, I guess for me, that was my awakening, right? Like when I finally wrote my book, Awaken Your Medical Intuition. And then the next one was about money blocks, right? Like the different ways to get to a 6- and 7-figure income. And then this year, because of all the changes going on, I'm being called again to do more of my healing work rather than just help people release their money blocks, because actually it's not an easy journey, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be difficult if they're just willing to release. I've known that for a fact, right? Like I've proven it time and time again. So could you give the audience like a theme? I always have a theme per year, because then I have like my little guiding light, my little lighthouse, right? Per year. Like, okay, what do I do this year, right? People come into those containers in my community. And again, I don't want to talk about money this time anymore, because if it's really a conversation in their head, right? Money is energy. It's either you have it, you think you're abundant, or you think you're broke. So if you think you're broke, you're always going to be broke. But if you think you're abundant, the opportunities and the connections, and if you're helping someone, yes, you can receive, right? You can have money. So share with the audience, like, what were your themes for the year? Like, let's start this year, and then you can go back 2 years before that. And let's see how we have evolved somehow. Let's share that with the community.
Okay, sure. So I call it the word of the year, Vivian. And this year for me, the word is let. Let. And you can actually interpret that in a different context. So one thing for me is to let go and let God.
That's right.
Um, I feel like in the past I was always very controlling. Like I wanted to control the results. I wanted to control when things are going to happen, and
Right.
it's very tense, right? And like you said,
Mhm.
money is. So if I'm like this, money sometimes is not able to flow, right? Ideas are
Yeah.
not able to flow.
Yes.
So for me, it's let go, and then
Mhm.
also let the old go. So whatever happened in the
Yeah.
past is 2020, but my
Let it
old
go.
idea, let it go. And
Yes.
again, that's it's kind of scary because that means you're in the unknown, right? Because the reason why we want to control is we want to have that certainty.
Right.
But that's why the second part is let go and let God. That one is very important. And I honestly, I didn't have a relationship. I want to say with God or higher power, however you said it. But I think it was the process, and it was a journey for me. And going back to last year, so my word for last year, 2020, was flow.
Mm.
Flow.
Flow.
But
Yes.
but in order to be in a flow state, you have to relax.
Yes.
So that's when I realized it was something that I needed to learn. That's why I chose the word "let's" this year. And going into 2019, the word for me was surrender.
Mm. Beautiful. Oh, that's beautiful. All
Yes.
right. How about Cathy? Let's hear about Cathy's
Oh my
journey.
goodness. Yeah,
Fun.
I love this. I love this topic, and I love women. I mean, not woman of the year, but I love yeah. So my word for this year going into this, there's multiple ones, but I would say service is extremely important for me because I feel that community is just so important. So someone walking the road of recovery, not only in drugs and alcohol addiction, but codependency, healing from the inside out. I'm also a cancer survivor as well. So from a health perspective, I've crawled out of the depths of despair, just feeling hopeless and just feeling really weak and lethargic at some points in my life. But I think it's really important that we're like, now that I'm healed and now that I've had my multiple spiritual awakenings, I need to give back to my community what God had freely given to me, and to help others and being of service. And so and ultimately, as I'm continuing to grow, I'm continuously also developing myself. I still pay for a ton of money for coaching programs. Like, as I'm a coach, I feel, I'm embedded. I just got accepted into a new coaching program that's 52 weeks intensive, and it's training to be an amazing consultant to move the enterprise forward. I run a 7-figure income business with four employees, and we move, touch, and inspire, and that's what we do. So I'm the CEO of a company called Recruiter Hustle. So we are an executive search firm. We work with executives, CEOs, CFOs, corporate controllers, very, very, just very high-powered individuals. But I'm just, but ultimately, even though I do work really heavily in the corporate environment, I do take myself into a very place of very humble. Like, I work in a lot of nonprofit. For example, we just partnered up with the Los Angeles Police Department and building out. We built out over 300 backpacks for people down in Skid Row. So just giving back, as we give back, we receive so many opportunities for network and growth. And again, it's constantly growth and development, and it's mindset work. I always come from a place of a beginner's mind. I don't know everything. I woke up this morning with the same amount of, let's just say, sobriety as the next addict, alcoholic. So, but I don't remember everything because I've had so many different types of programs and technologies that I've learned in my life. And now I'm here. I want to evolve. I'm going to be a different person by the time I go to bed tonight. And this opportunity to speak with two powerful Asian women and being a part of a collaborative book project. It's just so exciting. We can all expand together.
Yes, yes, definitely. And I know from both your topics, so Amy was more about her parents, right? She was afraid to disappoint, it seems like, right? Your mom or your parents. That's kind of how Asians think initially, because we were told to follow, right? That's ingrained in our culture that we're supposed to follow whoever is above us. There's this hierarchy of authority of some sort, and parents happen to be kind of on top, right? When we're younger. And we all broke from that shell of who they think they want us to be to who we really are, based on our sole purpose and the path that we took. So I love your inspiring stories. And I wanted to ask you guys, though, there was a moment in time that prompted you to change? So Amy, you were like miserable in your 8-year job in the bank, right? And then you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Was there an event or an aha moment or a series of events that led you to choose a different path than what you're choosing now?
Yes, absolutely. It was definitely a series of events. It was the universe pushing me, nudging me like, hey, you got to do something different. But I was so scared, right? So what happened was on my last 9 to 5 job, which is at the bank, the manager at the time, she made me cry on my birthday.
Okay.
I think that was the last straw. I was sitting there crying, and I'm like, this is just not right. Like, the universe is pushing me out. So that's what I decided to quit the job. And then I went into real estate. So real estate, I was self-employed, and I really enjoyed the service, like what Cathy was sharing about, really helping people. And then what happened was I got out of a 6-year relationship, a romantic relationship, and I was broken into pieces. And I kind of lost myself. Mm-hmm. So that's when I started my own personal development journey, because I wanted to find out who I was. What was it important for me? Like, what does Amy want? Right? Not what my parents want, not what my boyfriend wanted, but what do I want? Right. So that's when I started my own personal development journey, and I started to really tap into who I am, right? As a spiritual being, right? Who's infinite, right? But it was just, I needed to, release get rid of all the limiting beliefs. And I really enjoy my own personal transformation and the people around me. And I just decided, I love this work. This is my passion. This is my purpose. So I want to dedicate my passion to do coaching. So that's my transformation.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. So after the bank, you went into the realtor space, and then are you still doing that or no?
No, I'm just dedicated to coaching now. Yeah, I made the decision. This is what I want to do. So.
Okay. So audience, you're probably hearing that, right? Because some of us, and I've done this before, right? Like maybe I'll do, you put your foot in one boat, but the other foot is in the other boat. And then the problem there is, the very challenge there is when the other boat starts to run faster, maybe that business takes off. What happens to your legs, right? When they kind of move, one is fast and one is slow, you literally break yourself in half, if you look at that. So then there's the disintegration, right? That's not wholeness, that's not integration, because you're doing one or the other, and then somehow the universe says, what do you want? So yeah, thank you for that. Now, Cathy, how about you?
Wow. Okay. It's always interesting when I'm asked this question, like, what was the pivotal moment in my life? I said, you know what? Enough is enough. So a lot of people feel like, okay, she gets it. She was a young college student. She ended up going into recovery. But when I first came into recovery, I was like, oh, now I'll tiptoe through tulips because I have a really great, phenomenal support system. But one of the biggest, I always characterize my life as being a bunch of mini traumas, and I experienced some traumatic relationships. And one of the biggest traumatic relationship I had was with somebody that had bipolar manic depression. And during the course of our relationship, you know, he ended up going to prison, mental hospitals. He was 5150. That's when you're in a hospital against your will. Yeah. And so, so I mean, that was really pretty traumatic. But when I was trying to forensically analyze him, doing the MRI on him, I started seeing my own mental illness. Why did I do the things that I did? Why do I keep going back to the pain that I did? So there was a lot of domestic violence issues in my relationships, not just one, but many, because I was like, high and almighty, you know, I'm sober, I'm doing the right thing, but then I had these control issues. So when I ended up going into what I call a codependency blackout. You know how drunks get into these drinking bouts and they black out? Well, I went into a codependency blackout where I'm like, I don't understand why I keep going back. During the day, I'm billing, I'm making, you know, money. We bought a house, had a child, had a bunch of cars, but I was hurting and so bad inside. And I started becoming as sick as my secret, because what happens when, you know, as Asian, it's whether Asian woman or just a strong human being, we're like, oh, everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. So when you get into the like being inauthentic with your own feelings, that's when I struck gold. I said, something else is wrong. I need to dig deeper. So as I'm digging so deep, I took inventory of my morals, my own values, and my own self-esteemable acts. And I didn't see that I was doing a lot of that stuff. And I took it back and I reeled it back. I go, I know what it is. I'm not taking care of myself. So then we get into this conversation now. Every day I have to meditate. Otherwise I'm going to be off balance. I do self-care practices. I take a bath at least once a day. You know, I have to do these things so I can be spiritually fit. Right. It's so important. So I think that's definitely when I opened up my eyes. I said I had control of a lot of things, but I can't control other people. And so going back to what, you know, Amy said, letting go, let God. That was my chant every single day. I said that, let go, let God, let go, let God, at least 100 times a day. So got into a place of surrender.
Yeah, and you mentioned the practice of meditation, and obviously I do the same thing in the morning. I call that nature walk or meditation. So it was in the form, because for me, it was, I had like a warning sign for a stroke, which was kind of big right after my fourth kid was born, and he was a preemie. And I kind of had that aha moment that life is very precious. Like, you know, you think you're healthy, you're fine. And I was stressed out all the way to the top, right? Like you couldn't breathe because I had like 2 boarding cares for the elderly at that time. I was doing physical therapy, full-time job. And then I wanted to open a business, right? So all these things, I'm like, I'm Superwoman. I can do this, like a Superwoman mom. Guess what? You can't do it all unless you like schedule it and really like prioritize. So that's when really prioritizing, and by the way, the dissatisfaction really comes from that. Sometimes we're so busy, and I didn't know, right? I didn't know that I was doing this subconsciously in the past, that I had like 8 to 10 goals a day, you know, like a lot. But that's like every day, like a chronic overachiever, right? Asian women, we kind of do that, right? Am I the only one? Or so we have 8 to 10. I have those 8 to 10 goals, and of course, you can't finish everything because you only have a certain number of hours to work. And then at the end, I'm like, golly, see, I didn't do it. And then I sabotaged myself. I remember that. And I didn't know that I was doing it, right? It was subconscious, unconscious, whatever kind of consciousness I had back then. So the stroke was it's like a break. Like God said, stop. What are you doing to your life, right? Well, if you can't think, like your eyes are like cross-eyed, you're dizzy, your blood pressure rises so high that you can't really do anything, pretty much. But just to be still. So that's how I found meditation is, there's different ways that I can actually calm my system down and then take an inventory of my life for the day. So now I think of a whole day as a lifetime, because we never know if tomorrow we're going to wake up or not, right? If we're going to serve these people or not, but that day is given to us for a reason. So now every morning I do my nature walks, I meditate, I calm down. Because I notice when I'm calm, and even if the other person is stressed out, somehow they just like hanging out with me because they feel the energy of, oh, I kind of like her. I don't know why I like her, but I like hanging out with her, talking to her, or, talking with her and just exploring life. And so business at that point, right, it becomes ease, grace, and flow. So I really taught people how to do that because after having a preemie, a stroke warning sign, and my whole right side became like they call it flexion synergy pattern. I look like a stroke victim, right? And I said to myself, I need to slow down. This is not going to work. If I want to live with a better quality of life, that was God's way of saying, what are you doing? Stop. Do you want to die now or not? And then I decided at that moment, I wasn't going to die because I just had a baby, right? Like I have 4 kids and I said, I want to live till, they get married and they're successful and I can see them that way. And to be able to honor that, right? So I can't just honor everybody. I have to honor me, right? Have that boundary and the space needed. And then I can be of service to the people who really would like that kind of lifestyle. So it became part of my life rather than, like I'm at the bottom of the list. So I had to scratch that. I have to put myself on top of the list every single day. And I think of the day as a whole lifetime. So tomorrow, if I'm given this gift of life again, then I start all over again. Like nothing happened in the past, right? Like forgive and forget all those because they were there as lessons for us to build upon. So yeah, thank you for sharing. I love you guys' stories. I'm like, how many Asian women am I going to interview now? I love it. Okay, so my next question is, what did you choose as your inspiration in staying focused in your journey? Because we know, I'm guilty at times, you know how everything's going good and there's such a thing as a little self-sabotage, or you just kind of shrink because maybe you're not ready to up level there yet, right? Or maybe you're not ready to show up for the next version of you. So how do you ladies stay focused and inspired? Like, are there any rituals, any tips you can give the audience?
Sure, I'll go. So definitely meditation is a big part of my daily routine too, is to, again, taking care of yourself, then you can take care of others, right? But there's actually 2 other things I would recommend is to find a group of people, like what Cathy is saying, like a community or even a coach, right? I also have 2 coaches so to put me in that environment where I feel inspired to do what I do to help people. And then the second thing is definitely daily study. Really tap into who we truly are. Sometimes we forget and we need to be reminded daily how powerful we are and the purpose that we are here every day. So it's those 2 things that, find a group of people to surround yourself with, the environment, and then daily study. There's study who you truly are, study getting in touch with, universe or even nature to really get grounded.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. Cathy, how about you?
Oh, I love this question. The inspiration of staying focused in my journey. It's good. It obviously would be really easy to say that my son has been a huge inspiration in my life, but I guess I'll switch gears. Again, my book is about mastering the art of slowing down. And the reason why I came up towards the end of writing the book and to really create that as a theme for my life. And I went back in and I just changed some things. And I said, the reason why I wanted to master to write something as my own guidebook, my own roadmap to remind me that I do need to slow down, because when people pick up the book and they go, Cathy, why did you write a book about slowing down? There's nothing about you that is slow. You are like Speedy Gonzalez. You talk fast. You move fast. You are a Asian hustle, you know. And I said, well, because I have to practice, just like anybody else. Like it's a daily practice. So one of the concepts that I came up with during the process of writing my book in the past 10 years is a process of what I call the holy moments. So you've heard of the book Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, right? Yes. So staying in the presence of now is so important, like everything. And then the next moment is what happens. And then the next moment that's happened. And so when you can be really present while you're meditating, while you're doing yoga, while you are sipping your tea or whatever it is. So when people hear the word holy, they hear the word, it sounds religious, but in my book, I broke it down and it's more of a spiritual practice. So there's an acronym for it. So in our lives, we can, so the H is for holistic moments that we can create, you know, holistic medicine, holistic things to get us grounded and to, you know, to ground us and to look at that layer. And then the O would be for organic moments in our lives, things that have happened organically. You reached out, you wanted some speakers, and here we are. We just
Thank you.
It happened organically. Yes. And then the L is for little special moments in our lives. I'm sure that you've had a special wisdom or something that was from the past, and you're like, wow, remember that one time when? And you're like, yeah, it's actually a piece of that big giant puzzle that we were missing. And then finally, I believe that I'm having a why moment to be able, the why moment is actually a moment that I've yearned pretty much all my life to be able to sit here with beautiful human beings to share our growth. You said the word ease. I live with fun, play, and ease on a daily basis. And, you know, that's how my life flows. And so I am, again, I'm just so grateful to meet new friends and create and develop our network, and especially on this collaborated book.
Yes, thank you. That's beautiful. Look at her. She puts all these things in the pieces of the puzzle together. So thank you, Cathy, for that. That's so much fun. Yes. And as we move, right? So it's not like as we become this successful beings, let's tell the audience, the truth is we're not always strong, right? Sometimes we have some negative emotions, some fear. So tell us, ladies, how you overcome that. So we already know we meditate, right? So that's the beginning. For me, I meditate in the morning. I really make sure that Vivian is Vivian. And then at the end of the day, I kind of review my day, right? Again, it could be a whole lifetime. You don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. So I just go, okay, so what are the things that went well? What are the things I could change? And I got to make sure everything's done and there's no energies attached to me. Because I talk about energetic boundaries and the chakras, how that relates to business, because it does. It's part of the evolution. We can't say, I don't believe in that. Well, you don't believe that there's such a thing as an energy that's moving through your body. There is an energy, hello. So it's either we have good, clean energy, positive, vibrant, or we're kind of dark, dying, not feeling good, right? Sabotaging ourselves. So these negative emotions come from time to time. So can you share with the audience how you deal with those things, those fears, the self, maybe lack of self-worth? Sometimes those happen. And it's funny, it doesn't just happen to people that don't have achievements. They happen a lot for us that actually achieve a lot. So can you share some nuggets for our audience?
Sure. So one thing that I practice on a daily basis is gratitude, right? And like what Cathy say, a lot of people understand the concept of gratitude. They write down 10 things they're grateful for, and then they move on their day, right? Yes. But it's really the feeling behind it, right? So instead of thinking like, oh, there's something I need to get done, like a checklist, but rather to
checklist day,
right? You give people a lot. Okay, I've done that. But they didn't really, like grasp the feeling in that moment of the gratitude feeling. So you can do one thing that you're grateful for, but just, absorb yourself in that feeling. So that always get me back to where I want to be. So that's one thing that I do daily. And then the second thing, Vivian, is to, when I'm fearful, that means I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about my business. I'm thinking about how I'm showing up, right? So one way to get out of that is to go out and help other people. When I go out and help other people, it's not about me, but it's always who I can help. So I stop thinking about me completely, and then who I can serve. So then now the energy is going outward, and like the law of the universe will come back to me, but it's all about giving outward first.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Cathy? How do you overcome these, negative, pesky thoughts and emotions? Because they do show up, right? Like, oh, Lord, here we go again.
Oh, absolutely. So it's really interesting because I have a lot of people when they haven't met me yet, like really, really meet me, or have a conversation with me, they're a little intimidated. They're like, how can you be so powerful? You're so outspoken, you just speak your mind. And I mean, of course, like you said, everybody has this. I don't wake up like this, I have to work to it.
Oh my gosh.
But I love this question so much because I have so many little nuggets that I can drop right now, and I'll just break it down to the real bare bones of how I live my life. I have I don't want to brag, but I have about 700 friends that's ready and available. And the thing is that with my success is that when I call them, they just hold a space for me to help me clear, and they let me rip. Like, just let it rip. Like, and be authentic as you can. Because some days I just want to yell at my child, and that's all I want to do because he doesn't want to get off the video games. And sometimes, like, they take too long of a shower. Like, I'm like, can you please get out? We're running late. And it's okay. And then ultimately, when it comes down to the bottom of it, is that is our authentic truth. And if we can't speak our truth to people that are just sitting there to allow us to hold a safe space for us, then we can't. It's like I don't know about you ladies, but I had a big problem with trust. Right? I basically was afraid if you knew who I was, you wouldn't like me because I'm trying to be a good person today. Because you know how much I lied through school, how much drugs I did. Because if you really knew who the real Cathy was, I was so afraid of people knowing who the truth I was. I was so, my self-esteem was really low. I had so many insecurities. I compared my inside with how you looked on the outside. And so that, and it forced me to get into a place of continued deep dive, right? So with my clients, I work with them and I said, every day, write down your fears and then write down your chatter box. There's a lot of chatter that's going up there so that you can identify what it is. So you take out, thoughts are things, you put it out on paper, right? We tell our clients all the time, just journal, pick up a paper and start writing. And so we do that all the time. And I have to do it for myself in order so I can hold space for other people. Because if my wastebasket was too full, you can't give me any of your junk. I have to dump it every day. So that's what I do.
And that's why I think we explode sometimes. We get upset, frustrated, or angry because that's an energy that's going out, right? It's coming out of our bodies and we have to push it out. And thank you for sharing that, because for me, my way is to do my retreats. Like I kind of incorporate my lifestyle and I know clients, I'm not the only one who also fill up to the brim and ready to explode, right? You just shared with the audience that you do the same. It's like, can you, because of all the I guess expectations and all these things, time, right? Time management. And sometimes you got to be there at 9 o'clock in the morning. And then you're like, well, how come they're not ready? Because if they're not ready, I can't leave. So it's dependent on other people aside from just yourself. But we're moms, so we have kids, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's also, that's what we have to do, our self-care. And for you, that's your self-care. You have to go in and do those little rituals, whatever works for you, because it works. So if it works, that means it'll change you for the better. That's the good thing that you're doing. So thank you for sharing that. It's amazing. Oh my gosh, I think we can talk all day, but I was wondering if there are any comments or questions from the audience. So we're gonna let those people type in their comments or questions if you have any questions. And I wanted you guys to share how the audience can connect with you. So is there an email, a free book, or a free anything course that you can share with the audience so they can keep in touch with you? And perhaps Lou can put it in our Human MRI page or on the Vivian de Guzman page so that people can actually connect with you through your goodies. So share with us those presents for the audience.
Sure. So I would like to give your audience, Vivian. So I work with small business owners and entrepreneurs who are looking to close more sales in 2021 and really create a quantum leap. So I've created this free gift. It's a six series videos, including action steps for your audience. And all they need to do is just text the word gifts to my cell phone number, which is 714-477-5636. And then there will be a link to get them to the free link.
Thank you for the gifts. I love it. Thank you. How about you, Cathy? What can you share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for giving us this wonderful opportunity and great conversation. And you can locate me on Instagram. So it's Cathy Trin. And also I'm on Facebook as well. But I am offering my first 2 chapters of my book, Mastering the Art of Slowing Down into a Beautiful Existence. And also I'm in terms of seminars, and I've got free resources all over. And you can also text me at 714-376-2178 and just go ahead and simply put free. I'm so happy to send you all my free resources, but also my events and whatnot. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And I know that we're all part of this book called Asian Women Who Boss Up, right? So I know Tam Look and Didi Wong, they were the first people who extended that invitation to us, and we're very grateful for them. And is there a link? I know we have a free podcast going on now, it started yesterday, right? February 1st. It's called Women with Wisdom. And I believe this is going to happen until, is it March?
First, Women with Vision until March 1st.
Women with Vision podcast, right? And we invite you to listen to these beautiful Asian women who really boss up in their lives. They lead with passion, with purpose, with love, because they have been through the trenches. They have been through their own mess, our own mess. And as we solve those problems or dysfunctions, so to speak, then we learn a lot. We learn a lot of lessons from that, and we want to share with you those valuable lessons. So thank you, ladies. Is there any other last announcement or any other events that's going on in your lives that you would like to share with the audience?
I just want to say thank you, Vivian, for this time. And it was so last minute, which it's always awesome when it's divine intervention, right?
Yes.
And
those are when magic moments happen. I think
exactly, unplanned and just spontaneous. So I want to share. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And I want to invite you, ladies, and everybody listening. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to do a free master class. Actually, this whole week, we're doing a free master class, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, we did Who is Your Ideal Client or Avatar. Tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific time, I'm going to be doing a master class. It's free on how to craft your irresistible offer, right? So if you're a coach or a healer, I'm sure there's so many courses within you, but then there's this one thing that leads you to your ideal client, right? And on Friday, it's about how to market, how to market to your ideal client with our own copywriter. So all of those are 12 p.m. Pacific time. And so thank you again for being here, ladies. It's been magical. I love hearing your stories, and I love hearing how you Asian women boss up. So thank you so much, everyone. And I hope to see you again next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific time for another episode of My Spiritual GPS. Thank you.